I'm Mark, and I'm half-ass ready. So, I want to talk about church security. Touchy subject, right? It shouldn't be a touchy subject for several reasons. Um, Most of all, just take a look back in our history. Uh, Religious persecution has been a part of every history book as long as we've been writing history books, okay? Um, the first 5 books of the Bible are about religious persecution. The Egyptians enslaving the Jews and the Jews escaping from that enslavement. So it religious persecution is a part of our history. So the fact that religions have been tormented shouldn't surprise anyone. Um, been tormented by other religions and governments for thousands of years. Okay, all the major religions teach a self-reliance, a reliance on self, um, and a hope for a better tomorrow. And this is offensive to other groups. Uh, this is offensive to groups who need you to hope in them, or groups who need someone to blame for the common misfortune that's going on. Groups that don't understand why you believe what you believe and are not willing to learn to understand. So, which would be other religions, political groups, and but now in present time, uh, political and anti-religion sentiment is growing, and it's rising against church people. And it don't matter what church you go to. By no means am I endorsing any religious group. All religions who go to church means you gather to worship the way you choose. So there are people who worship that way gathered in the same place. Easy target, right? Mass target. So the access to modern weaponry, the availability of technology on the internet for people to make improvised weaponry to do damage and mass damage, um, that's a reason for you to prepare your place of worship and your flock to protect themselves. So we're not going to tell you how to do this. Okay, I want you to think. We're going to give you some scenarios and some statistics and some ideas, but we're not here to tell you how to run your church. Um, but we are here to tell you that you need to think about security for your church. It that we want you to think, and your church is different than my church. My church is different than Landon's church, but my special guest tonight, and on this series of videos, I am going to mention, before I introduce my special guest, that this until we actually get this on tape and start editing, I don't want to lose attention spans. So this may be 3 videos. It's definitely going to be 2. But anyway, stay tuned for part 2, part 3 possibly, and we'll determine that later. But as of right now, myself, half-ass ready. This is Myrmidon Press, Landon, and I'll give Landon the floor because Landon has a unique skill set for this particular subject, and I'm going to let him introduce himself and give you the reason why I think his skill set's important, and then we're going to dig into the meat and potatoes of this matter. So, Landon, take it away, brother.
Oh, well, thank you. Hi, I'm Landon with Myrmidon Press. Today we're going to talk about church security. My background is mainly in physical security with personal security attached to that. My time in the military prepared me a lot for this kind of realm of talk.
Yep.
And I would like to just start everything with a Bible verse that I found I had another one in mind, but this one seemed to fit. When speaking to the elders of the church of Ephesus, okay, this is Acts 20:28. Be on guard for yourselves and for the flock, among which the Holy Spirit has made you overseers, to the shepherd, the church of God, which he purchased with his own blood.
Yeah.
I feel like that's powerful enough to say that as a deacon, as a preacher, a pastor, a priest, a nun, anyone involved in the church at an official capacity, you have the responsibility to take the safety of your flock to heart. And the concerns of your flock, you need to recognize that and take action upon. With this series of videos, we just want to give a basic groundwork on. We want to talk about if you wanted to start a security team for whatever size church you have. If you are, I'm going to hate to say it, there's a lot of small churches, especially in our neck of the woods.
Yeah.
There might be 2 fighting men in the whole church, and we want to tailor this to you too.
Yeah.
We also just, we want to push a way of thinking that is just going to help for, it's a Swiss Army knife.
Yep.
Right? It's not just for the people who want to do us harm.
Right.
It is also for everyday health and security. And having people dedicated to that cause is going to pay off dividends in the end. And I think the church parishioners who aren't part of your security team, or the shepherds, whatever you want to call them, they're going to be able to see the benefits immediately.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and again, we talk about this. Don't want anybody to be discouraged by the fact that you go to a small church that this is out of your control.
No.
You just need to think about it in a realistic way on the manpower that you have and the resources that you have. And that's what we're trying to do, encourage you to think about your place of worship and how to make it safer from a lot of different things, not just a wacko coming in the door.
Yeah.
And Landon has some terrific statistics to go over, and I'm going to shut up and let him because he has some really good statistics that I had not seen, and I'll let him take over with that because it's great.
Yeah. So with any given, especially a security situation, you want to develop a target package. Okay, you want to look at your church or your house or whatever you want to defend from the outside in. You want to start at a level of like somebody driving by, just seeing a target of opportunity, to someone within the church who has intimate knowledge of the people who are there, the inside of the building, thinking in, we want to give the enemy credit because they have a say. No matter what battle is going on, the enemy is there and you have to deal with them. If you weren't dealing with them the way you were, they wouldn't be an enemy. All right, so evil will possess the gray area that we leave. Okay, if that door is always locked and nobody checks it, that's the one day it's unlocked. All right, so we're going to take up that gray space. Getting into the statistics, I got these statistics from the Faith-Based Security Network, FBSNamerica.com. They pulled a lot of stats from 1999 to 2020. A total of 2,361 incidents in that time. Those incidents were shootings, stabbings, a lot of violence. Out of those 2,300 odd incidents, only 624 had deaths or murders involved with them. Out of the incidents that involved, or all these incidents involved, 784 people killed and 1,232 people injured. That's a lot.
That is a lot.
That's a small concert, you know.
Yeah, that's a lot of people, man.
Right. And then going into just facets of this, the aggressor/attacker statistics, 57% used firearms. All right, we're in America.
Right.
Statistically, I feel like that's low. Most of them were male. Over 90% of them were male. Out of 2,875 total aggressors, this is the way they were found. Okay, 24% of those had multiple, more than one, and 75% of those had 75% had just one aggressor or attacker. They were found 159 cases, which is 5% to suicide. 3%, 104 were KIA or something happened to them unseen.
They got unalived.
Yes. And then 1,562, 54% of them were arrested or apprehended. And out of these stats, I don't want this to sound ambiguous, but unknown or at large, which means we don't know what happened because the statistics didn't say, or they haven't found this person, 36%.
Wow.
Even if that's 1% for at large, that is too many.
Wow, that's way more than I thought.
Yes. And then locations. We're going to think about this as demographics, okay? The top 5, Baptist, Catholic, Methodist, Lutheran, Presbyterian. And in that order, Baptists had 494 incidents at 20%, Catholics 322 incidents at 13%, Methodists 7.5%, Lutheran 3.8%, Presbyterian 3.2%. And at the bottom of this list, again, we're in America, this is kind of statistically where I think it would be, Islamic places of worship 2.1% and Jewish places of worship 1.5%.
Yeah.
Overwhelmingly Christian.
Sure. That's America. That's
Yes.
our makeup.
Yes, and I wanted to point that
Yeah.
out. Statistics can sometimes say, "Oh my God, it's happening here." There's just not a lot of mosques.
No, and there's not a
Right.
lot of synagogues either.
No.
We look, our area of Western North Carolina is predominantly Baptist,
Yes.
and there are tons of these little Baptist churches we're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
We do have a Catholic church in our capital city of our county. And we have a synagogue, but it's a very small synagogue in town, and you would have to hunt it. I think it's in the basement of a house.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying, no, that's the makeup of our America, but your America may be different. I mean, especially in like the upper Midwest, Michigan,
Dearborn, Michigan.
yeah, they have a lot more Muslims there. So I'm sure they got a lot more synagogues, and in fact, they had an attack there on their Muslim church.
Yes. Yes. So with those stats in mind, okay, out of all of these attacks, where did I write it? I knew I wrote it. All right. As far as location, 532 of these incidents started inside the church. That is 23%.
Okay.
The next shocking stat that I was in, it made sense once I kind of came to grips. Events that started outside of the church and made their way inside, or solely happened outside, 1,760 incidents. That's 76%.
So, okay, so the aggressor started outside the church, not actually sitting in with the flock.
Yes.
So this started. We were talking earlier, the Christchurch incident in New Zealand. This man got out of his car, started his video camera up, and started shooting people all the way to the church. Walked inside the church, shot everybody in the church. Walked outside the church, shot everybody up down the street. Got in his car, drove to another church, started again.
Yeah.
So yeah, all right, but that is a surprising statistic.
Yes.
Because in your mind, you're thinking, this is just going to bust out right where I'm at.
Yeah.
So
and a lot of people, it's very hard for people to kind of get into the situational awareness aspect of life. If you haven't, I don't want to say it, but if people haven't had something happen to them, or they haven't been to combat, or they haven't been in pretty precarious situations, it's
Right.
just not something that you can read and go learn. It's an environmental effect on you. So with those, we obviously have outside security at heart. I think we need to start. When you're fixing a car, you want the cheapest part first, because if it fixes it, right, problem solved.
Right.
But guess what? When you put that new part in and there's a systemic
fixing.
problem,
We got to go deep.
At least that one part's done.
We got to go deep.
Right. So
We know it's not simple, so we got to go deep.
exactly. So I want to start with the concealed carry professional, okay?
Yep.
Somebody who has experience and the will.
Yep.
All right? Like for me today, all right? I've got Michael with me.
There you go.
Always. Always have Michael with me. All right? The Archangel Michael cast Satan from heaven, and his job at the end of time is to stop it.
Is to keep Satan out of heaven.
Right? I feel as though people need to find their medallion. Okay?
Yeah.
Find something you want to emulate.
Yeah.
I want to be like Michael. Okay?
Yeah.
And it's a very powerful symbol. If you're that person who carries to church, is proficient, willing,
Yep.
honest, all right? I want you to make yourself known to your deacons, to your pastor, to your priest,
Yeah.
and ask. I know most of us would love to ask for forgiveness rather than permission.
Yes.
I feel like in the house of God, you need the backing of the entire church as a whole.
Yeah, I think so.
The trust that you have between your church and you and your deacons and the other members of the flock are paramount.
Yeah.
When you lose the trust, I hope you stop something, but losing your church family.
Well, one of the paramount principles of Christianity is nonviolence. It is thou shalt not kill. It is one of the commandments. It is hard for a Christian to force himself into that killer mode, and it is something that you need to consider the entire flock and discuss it with the shepherds of your church, because they may tell you no.
Yes.
You know, they may tell you no.
And you may have to adjust your choices and
There you
decisions as of that.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? I'm not saying you need to do anything that I feel like would make you dishonest, but
No.
you can do things outside of that make you feel better and protect the church.
Yeah.
And part of the stats was that a lot of these events took place not during service.
Right.
They took place at prayer meetings on a weekday.
Yeah.
They took place at Bible study.
Yeah.
They took place at teen church. Whatever your church has, those events, they're usually targets for opportunity from what I can read at the stats. It's the guy driving by.
Yeah.
They go, oh, there's a bunch of people in the
There's
church.
a bunch of Christians. Let's go shoot them.
So that, I feel like if you're that lone person, right, you go to church on Sunday and you work during the week, right?
Right.
You don't always have the time. Make yourself a promise, okay? I pitched this idea years ago when there was a lot of school shootings going on, that all the veterans in your town, on your lunch break, go have lunch across the street from the school.
Yeah. Yeah.
Be there.
Yeah.
Be present.
Yeah.
Because if something goes off and you're willing to put in the work and you're willing to sacrifice, what does it hurt to go have your Hardee's across from the high school?
It don't hurt.
Right?
Yeah, no. And
somebody will thank you in the end for saving their daughter.
Yeah.
Right? Same thing. You need to understand that if you're loud and the deacons and everybody and the pastor and everybody's cool with it, it's not a good idea to just check on your church, especially if you live close by.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Really, honestly, some of y'all live next door across the street from your church.
Right? A lot of people do.
You know?
And that's a big reason how we choose our churches, proximity. Sure. A big reason. I mean,
oh yeah.
That's how all of them start up in the hollers.
Yeah, that's why. Yeah, that's why we have 800 churches in our county. Yeah,
it's hard to get across the county sometimes. Right. So make unannounced stops. If you know there's Bible study tonight, get the church schedule. If you know that the Red Hats are meeting and having tea at the fellowship hall tonight, maybe go see if you can get you a cup of tea and sit with them for a minute.
Yeah, why not have a cookie?
Right? It's also just relations with everybody in the church. Sure. It's fellowship.
Sure.
Right?
And nobody loves to have a cookie and tea with you more than the Red Hats.
Exactly.
I promise
exactly. You also need to train. You need to be proficient. I can't tell you how many times I've been in the wild, and it's funny how it's usually people who open carry. I can just tell.
Yep.
I can just tell that on my worst day, with the flu, missing a hand, I could have my way with it. Right?
No, I'm with you on that.
And you cannot be this lone wolf guy. You cannot be that idiot that just thinks the whole world is on his shoulders. I promise you it is not.
Right.
Unfortunately, you are human and you are very easy to kill.
Right.
You need to do yourself a favor.
You know, we say this we say this a lot, man. Just because you own a gun doesn't make you a gunfighter. Okay.
Nope.
If you want to become a gunfighter, learn how to use your gun. Okay. So, I like where we're going, and I think we need to stop and regroup. We're going to try to finish this recording session tonight, but I think we need to stop here. This is part one, okay? And we're going to move on to part two, which is going to cover those zones of security we're talking about. And we're going to talk about small churches, and we're going to talk about big churches, and we're going to talk about security teams. We have a lot of subject matter to cover, and I just don't want to lose your attention. So I think we're going to stop here, and we will see y'all again real soon, because we're going to come back very quickly with another video. So thank you for tuning in. Remember to tell the ones you love that you love them. Thanks for tuning in. Like, subscribe, share. Let's get full ass ready.